new force appeared in Hispaniola, the church. This monastery was founded in 1508 by the Dominican order, and by 1511, friars who had come from Spain to reap souls rather than treasure could no longer contain their outrage at the treatment of the Indians. At a service for the settlers on Advent Sunday, 1511, one of the friars, Antonio de Montesinos, delivered a blistering sermon.
I must cry out to you that you are a people in sin. You are destroying an innocent people, and for it you deserve damnation, damnation from a God of wrath. By what right do you force labor from these people in your mines and on your fields? Are they not human beings? Have they no souls, no minds? Are you not under God's command to love them as you love yourself? In the name of all that's good and holy, will you stop? The effect of this sermon was to lay before the settlers and eventually the whole of Spain the radical question, what right do you have to treat Indians this way? And what right do you have to presume that it's just? And in that question lay the seeds of the great struggle that went on from this place right to the court of Spain.
Montesinos' great shout of despair confronted Spain with questions no European power had had to face before. Questions of the rights and responsibilities of dominion over a people not even mentioned in the Bible. In Spain, debates sprang up in places like the College of San Gregorio in Valladolid, hinging on the question just who or what were the Indians.
Were these people beasts, for instance? Were they barbarians? Or were they brothers? Well, now, the idea of the beast was very strong in this society because those who lived outside fixed towns and cities were normally thought to be outside the pale of civilization. And the kind of character who was most thought about in that context was the wild man of the forests of medieval Europe. Like indeed the wild men and the monastery of San Gregorio, the beautiful facade behind us. That is the image of the uncivilized man that the late medieval European takes to the New World with him.
It was an image very useful for the settlers wanting the Indians for their labor, but horrifying to the missionaries who wanted their souls. And so the lawyers got involved, drafting a legal document designed to find out whether any given Indian could or could not be enslaved. It spelled out how God had given the Indies to Spain. Indians who accepted their status as subjects of God and the Spanish crown would be left in peace. But those who resisted or ran away would be enslaved. The document, to be read aloud in Spanish to every newly encountered group of Indians, was called the Requirement.
It was often read with great pomp, with the thunder of drums, by a notary at the top of his voice while the soldiers did military maneuvers. The Indians were faced with a foreign tongue, a doctrine they didn't understand, and an attitude that was far from peaceful, even though it says here they're appealing to their free will. So the most likely thing was that they were scared or ran away.
And if they ran away, of course, they could be enslaved, legally. What prompted the requirement was the need to find new Indians to work in the encomienda of Hispaniola and the other islands now being explored, like Cuba and Puerto Rico, because the Indian population was now in disastrous decline. What hunger and overwork began, European diseases like measles and influenza continued, until thousands, then tens of thousands were dying. Whole communities killed themselves and their children rather than work for the Spanish. When Columbus founded his colony in 1493, there were some 500,000 Indians in Hispaniola. In 1519, there were 500.